Hey everyone, welcome back to the Tastyworks tutorial series. In today's video, we're going to go through the process of both buying and selling stock in the Tastyworks mobile app. Now this is actually incredibly easy to do in here, but we're going to go through several different examples just so you guys get the hang of it. I'm also going to go through how to do this both on a long stock position, so basically buying stock, as well as on short stock position, so selling shares that we don't own. Now jumping right into it, let's go through the very first example, and that's simply just buying some shares of stock. Right off the bat, you can see I'm currently looking at a watch list, so let's say we wanted to trade one of these guys. In this case, I can see Disney on my watch list, and I can see it last traded for $151.62, and it's up $1.52 today. So let's say we were looking at that and we thought Disney looked appealing to us, we wanted to buy some shares. We're simply going to click on Disney right there. As soon as I do, you can see it brings up the Disney stock profile page, and I can see a little chart of Disney over the past day in this case. If I were to scroll up my finger, I can also move that up to the top so I can also see some quote details. I can see what the stock opened up at today. I can see what its high of the day has been so far, its low of the day, as well as some other stuff like volume for the day, dividend yield, that kind of stuff. Now that's nice to know, but in this case, we simply wanted to buy some shares of Disney. So we're going to hit the big green button in the lower right hand corner that says Trade Disney. As soon as we do that, it brings up three separate buttons: strategy, stock, and options, and it pretty much speaks for itself. Since we want to trade stock, we're going to click on the stock button. As soon as we do that, it brings up an order ticket to buy some shares of Disney. Now the big buttons at the top kind of speak for themselves. Right now it's highlighted as buy, so we're buying shares. If we wanted to sell some shares, we'd hit sell, and it would change it to a red order ticket. Now in this first example, we wanted to buy some shares of Disney, so let's go ahead and flip it back over to buy. The next button below that is the order type, and right now you can see it set as a limit order, which means we are specifying a price. If we look a little bit further down, you can see the price that I'm currently specifying is $151.76. So I'm telling Tastyworks right now, you better not buy me these shares of Disney unless you can get them for $151.76 or better. But let's say I wanted to adjust that. I only wanted to buy these shares of Disney if I could get them for $150 or lower. All I would have to do is click on that number there, $151.81. I'm going to go ahead and delete it out of there and type in 150 and hit save. So again, with a limit order, I am telling Tastyworks, do not buy this position unless I can get it for this price or better. Now at the moment, I also have the time in force marked as a day order, which means if it does not happen today, if it does not happen by 4 p.m. Eastern time, go ahead and cancel the order. Do not try again tomorrow. And then the last one we're going to look at is the quantity box. How many shares of stock are we actually trading? As of right now, I'm saying I want to buy 100 shares of Disney, but if you wanted to change that, you would simply click in that box, type in how many shares you want to buy, and hit done. So in our case, let's say we wanted to flip it over to 20 shares. We'll go ahead and type in 20 here and hit done. So what I'm essentially saying is I want to buy 20 shares of Disney if I can get it for $150 or better, but I only want this order ticket good for the day. Looking a little bit below that, you can also see the current stock and options buying power I have in this account, which isn't enough. I only have $490 in buying power, but the BP effect, the amount that I need for this trade, is $3,000. If you actually wanted to place this trade, you would simply hit review and send in the lower right-hand corner, and this order ticket would get submitted. Now that was a very quick example of how to actually buy some stock in here, but let's actually break down what each one of these tabs mean. So starting with the order type. Before this, I already told you what a limit order means. It just means we are specifying a price. If we were to click on that, we can see the other order types available to us. Now, the first one listed there is a market order, which means we just want to get these shares of Disney as soon as possible, and we'll take whatever the current price is. As soon as I clicked on market, you should have noticed that down at the very bottom, the limit price box disappears. We no longer are specifying a price. And remember, that's because we're saying we'll just take whatever it's currently going for. I'll take it at that price. Just get me those shares as soon as you possibly can. If we click on the order type box again where it says market, we can also see stop market orders and stop limit orders. Now, generally, stops are going to be used to close you out of positions you already hold in the account. And typically, you're going to use them to close you out when things are going against you, when I'm losing too much money. Just as a quick example, let's say you already have these 20 shares of Disney and you own Disney at $151 currently. You could put in a stop market order saying, hey, if Disney ever goes down to $145 or lower, get me out of this thing automatically. That would be an example of using a sell stop market order on a long Disney position. Now, I already made a separate video on how to create stops in the Tastyworks mobile app, so we're not going to touch on this too much, and I will say you can use these to open up new positions, but for the vast majority of you guys watching this, you're never going to do that. Really, the only two that you guys are going to use when you're opening up a new position is either the market button or the limit button. Now, leaving it set as limit, we'll go ahead and click on that again. The next box down you can see there is the time and force box. Now I already mentioned it before, but a day order is good for the regular market session. So that would be 9:30 a.m. Eastern to 4 p.m. Eastern time. What you're essentially saying is, if this order does not fill by 4 p.m. Eastern time, go ahead and cancel the order. Now, if you wanted to adjust that, you simply need to click on the word day there, and you can see a few different options pop up. The first one being GTC, which is a good until cancel order, saying, hey, if it doesn't happen today, try again tomorrow. Doesn't happen tomorrow, try again the next day, and the next day, and so on, until it gets filled or until I cancel the order. The next one down there is a good till date order, so basically you're just specifying a day that you'd want to cancel the order if it hasn't filled by then. Let's say I want to buy these shares of Disney at $150, but if it hasn't happened by January 30th, just go ahead and cancel the order. Now the last one there would be an EXT order or an extended session order, good for the pre-market and the post-market. So if you want your order ticket good for all three sessions, pre-market, regular market, post-market, you would need to mark it as an EXT order. Now let's say we wanted to leave it as a day order, so we'll just go ahead and click on that again. I already talked about the quantity box saying how many shares we're about to buy. And we already talked about the limit price in the previous example. So if we were happy with this, we wanted to submit the order ticket, we would simply hit review and send, make sure everything looks right, the order ticket is exactly the way we want it to be. And then if we were happy, we would hit submit in the lower right-hand corner. Now, since we don't actually want to place this, let's go ahead and clear it out. And yes, we want to continue. Let's say we next wanted to short some stocks. So let's go back to the watch list page. And let's say I wanted to short some SoFi. Up there at the top, you can see SoFi last traded for $16.22, and it's up $2.57 today. If I wanted to short the stock, so that would be betting on the stock going down in value, I could simply click on SoFi, just like we did before. We're going to click on that big green Trade SoFi button in the lower right-hand corner. We're going to click on the stock button, just like before. Now this time, since we're shorting the stock or selling shares, we're going to hit the sell button. Otherwise, it's exactly the same as before. We're simply going to use the order type we want to use. So in this case, we're using a limit order. We want that order ticket good for the day. We're currently saying we want to short 100 shares of stock. Let's say we only wanted to short, 50. We'll go ahead and type that in there. And we're saying we want to short it at $16.33 or 35. It's constantly adjusting. Now, if we were to submit this order, we were to hit review and send, we would be going short 50 shares of SoFi at $16.34. Later down the line, if you wanted to close this trade out, you would need to buy back the shares to close out the position. And hopefully you get to buy back those shares at a lower price than you sold them. So remember, when you're shorting stock, you're going to sell it to open it, buy it back to close it. When you go long the stock or you buy the shares, you need to sell the shares to get out of it. Pretty straightforward. Now, as for closing positions you already hold in the account, let's go ahead and go down to the positions page down at the bottom of our screen here. Up at the top, you can see I currently have 1 share of Palantir, and it's currently trading at $15.44. If you want to sell a position you already hold in the account, all you have to do is click on it here. As soon as we do that, it brings up a little Manage PLTR position box, and we're going to click on Close Position at the very top of the screen. As soon as we do that, you should see a very familiar page to you. It's the same order ticket screen that we've seen in all the other examples. Right now, we're saying we want to sell our share of Palantir, we want to use a limit order, and we only want to sell it for $15.43 or better. Just like before, if we wanted to only sell this if it went up to $17, we could go ahead and type in 17 and hit save. If I wanted this order to go out there every single day until it filled, I could go ahead and change it from a day order to a good until cancel order. And that would be it. All I would have to do is hit review and send, and the order ticket would be submitted. Now, I know we went through that pretty quick, but that's just about everything you guys need to know to buy and sell stock in the Tastyworks mobile app. If I miss anything or you guys have any additional questions for me, just leave them down below and I'll get to them as best I can. As always, I hope you guys all have an amazing rest of your week, and I'll see you all in the next video.